Welcome back to Fun Movies. Today, I am going to explain a 2014 horror and thriller movie called The Belko Experiment. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. I hope you will enjoy this video. The movie starts in South America at Bogotá, in Colombia, which seems to be a very busy town with people doing many kinds of business. We are then introduced to Mike Milch, who is on his way to work. When driving down a crowded street, he is approached at his car by a man in town who offers him a figure made from an old corn cob. Mike then buys one from the man. In the next scene of the movie, Mike arrives at his job, Belko Industries. Barry Norris pulls up to find armed guards at the entrance asking to see his ID, and then he gives them. As he enters the building, we are introduced to other Belko employees who have been working there for over a year. As the employers go to their respective offices and positions, we notice other people are watching them through the CCTV cameras that are placed inside the building. Then there is a new employee called Danny Wilkins, who is issued with a company ID, company credit card, company telephone, keys to her company car, and keys to her new apartment. She is then told that all the employees in the building have trackers placed in their heads for the higher-ups to keep an eye on them, due to the high number of kidnappings that occur in Colombia. Danny becomes acquainted with Roberto Jerez and Leda Hynek. We are then taken to Wendell Dukes, who is constantly staring at his colleague, Leandra Flores. Leandra Flores then gets upset when Dukes does not stop staring at her after she caught him. She then tells him to stop. Mike then arrives in Leandra Flores' office, whom we learn is his girlfriend, as she portrays her happy mood in his presence. We also learn she is in the process of getting divorced. Mike then gives her the old corn cob he bought as a present. She is excited and closes the office curtains, in which the couple proceeds to kiss each other. They are then interrupted by Barry, who then tells Flores to set up Caracas' call for 2 o'clock, and then he leaves. The couple then breathes a sigh of relief. Not long into the day, Mike notices the local employees are sent home. He then calls the security guy, Evan, to ask about the local employees' whereabouts and new security outside. The security guy then tells him he received an email to release the locals to go home for security concerns, and he does not know anything about the new security guards outside the building. A mysterious voice then starts to speak over the intercom, telling the employees that within 8 hours, most of them will be dead. In 30 minutes, they are required to kill 2 people, or else more will die. The building is then completely sealed off by metal on all the doors and windows when a lady who just entered the building tries to escape. Everybody becomes nervous and tense, while Barry tries to keep everyone calm. People play it off as a sick prank. Maintenance workers Bud Melks and Lonnie Crane try to melt the metal off with the blowtorch, but the metal is apparently too strong for it to have any sort of effect. Danny, Roberto, Leda, and tech guy Keith McClure go the roof to find cafeteria worker Marty Espenshade smoking a joint up there with 2 of his friends. They try to look for help from the room. They happen to see a security guard and they try to call for help, but the security guard ignores them and continues drinking his coffee. Marty tries to calm others down, thinking that the situation they are in is a joke just made to scare them. As they discuss the situation, one of Marty's friends dies when the back of her head explodes. The others freak out, while in the lobby, 3 more people die with their skulls getting blown out. The other employees panic, thinking someone is shooting at them. Everybody goes to the hiding immediately. Upon further inspection, Barry learns that the ones whose heads are blown to death are not bullet wounds. Mike and other employees discover that the trackers in their heads are set to explode. Mike looks for a cutting tool and goes into the bathroom to try and cut his tracker out from his head, only for the voice to start speaking and ordering him to stop trying to take it out or they will detonate it on their own within 10 seconds he was given. Mike stops at the last second as Leandra begs him to stop. Other employees realize they are being watched when they disable and remove cameras from the vents. The employees start to weigh their options, as some of them cannot bring themselves to kill anyone else. Barry, however, is set to make it home to his wife and kids, so he tries to convince security guard Evan Smith to give him the keys to the armory. Evan refuses to do so after he just witnessed one of his fellow guards and friend get killed by the explosive. The voice then assures that they are not messing around with anybody, and now it is demanded that the employees kill 30 among them within 2 hours, or 60 will be killed by their own methods. The voice then proceeds to warn them not to destroy any other camera and not to attempt removing their track tags in their heads, as they will be risking their heads being blown. Everyone is in shock and horrified of their lives. Other employees proceed to hide and others go for cutlery tools to be harmed for their safety in the challenging situations they are in. In the basement, Lonnie is freaking out as he hears a fire alarm that rings loudly. Bud tries to calm him down. Bud gets too close, and Lonnie reacts by hitting Bud on the head accidentally with a wrench he was holding, leaving a huge dent in Bud's head as he falls and dies. Danny, who was hiding behind the drums, witnesses the whole thing and screams, making Lonnie notice her presence. Lonnie tries to stop her from telling anyone and he grabs her. Danny kicks herself back and causes Lonnie to back his head into a metal bar, killing him. Danny is shocked about what has just happened and decides to leave there immediately. The camera then shifts to the lobby, whereby Barry manages to settle everyone down to discuss ideas and options they have so that they come up with a plan. The majority dislike the idea of killing 30 lives and agree to try Lindra's idea of making banners and displaying them on the roof to get help. Mike, Lindra, and Evan lead employees in the agreement of making banners near the roof to make banners, while Barry, Wendell, and Terry Winters team up together to try and break into the armory with a blowtorch. Evan tries to stop them by pulling out his gun, but he relents and just lets them continue. Mike takes Evan's gun and courageously shoots at the blowtorch tank before he leaves with Lindra and Evan, leaving Barry and his team annoyed. The three meet up with Keith, Leda, and Roberto to make big banners to hang over the building to call for help. The guards in the hangar spot them and start shooting at them, hitting Keith in his hand. The voice demands them to stop hanging up signs, or their explosives will be detonated. Mike insists on trying to hang another banner to no avail as the guards continuously shoot at the roof, and one of the employees stops him. Mike and his friends start to head back downstairs, but Mike gets knocked in the head with a fire extinguisher by Barry. In the heat of the moment, Wendell stabs Evan and takes his keys. Evan suffers the pain as he bleeds out to death. Barry and his guys get the guns out and start ordering people to head into the lobby as they get down to less than 20 minutes before their deadline. They begin to group people according to whether or not they have kids or if they are over the age of 60. Mike is then brought in after he regains consciousness. Barry and Wendell start executing people, and Terry nearly gets to Mike until Danny cuts off the power in the basement. Barry, Wendell, and some of their goons start shooting the employees in the dark while others make it out safely. Some of the other shooters are killed also. The voice speaks over the intercom saying that time is up and they have only killed 29 people. 31 additional people have their heads blown out, including Keith and Leda. Everyone else hides. The voice speaks again and says the third round of their game will have the employees with the most kills walk out free. So far, Barry and Wendell have the most kills, so they go off to try and up that count by killing everyone they come across. One woman tries to offer her body to Barry for her life. He responds by twisting her neck backward. Barry gets into an elevator as Danny and Roberto try to make their way up on top. Danny gets off the top, but Roberto gets crushed by the elevator, leaving Barry stuck. Danny climbs to the other side to get out. Lindra finds Marty and his friend Chet in the cafeteria where numerous bodies are laid out. Marty and Chet dug the bombs out of the heads of those who didn't get their skulls blown out. Wendell shows up and starts shooting after his shot at his arm. Lindra hides behind a table with Marty and Chet, but those two get shot dead by Wendell. Lindra makes her way over to Wendell and starts swinging an axe down into his face repeatedly. Mike and Lindra find each other and evade one employee who is flinging Molotov cocktails with fire, and Barry wielding his gun. Barry shoots the employee flinging Molotov cocktails with fire and Danny at the head as she comes out of the elevator. Unfortunately, so does Lindra. She dies next to Mike before he steps out in a rage and goes after Barry. The two fight until Mike grabs hold of a tape dispenser and starts bashing Barry's head in repeatedly until he dies. Mike is then the sole survivor. The guards come in and pull him out. Mike is brought into the hangar, where he meets the voice himself, a man whose face is partially scarred. He tells Mike that the experiment was to observe human behavior in this type of experiment. Mike then reveals that he took the bombs that Marty dug out and slipped them onto the guards and the voice. He runs to the control panel and sets them off, then shoots two other goons. The voice tries to talk Mike out of it, but he has none of it and shoots the voice repeatedly to death. Mike walks out of the hangar. The camera pans out to reveal other screens from dozens of other Belko companies where other survivors have completed their own ordeal. Another voice then says stage 1 commences and then the movie ends. Thanks for watching and make sure you subscribe for more videos. Stay safe, stick around and enjoy.